And we are live again, welcoming back for the second time over here in these parts, underground artist representative, Gary Wray. Gary, welcome again. Good to have you around again, sir.
I'm glad to be here. Let's finish up what we started.
Let's finish up what we started. So first, let's jump to comments. Michaela is saying good evening. So good evening to Michaela. My pal Fanboy Cantina is saying let's go. A quick shout out to the Fanboy Cantina. As of today, he hits 2,000 subscribers on the Fanboy Cantina channel. So that's a good landmark that he's been looking forward to achieving. Now let's come into the reason that we're here is to talk about your art and your creative process. So let me get the screen up and running. And here we go. And here we go. And then let me get back right here again. All right. So this is where we left off. This was the thumbnail for last time. We spoke for a good couple of minutes on this piece last time around. So I just wanted to put a mile marker there. And so now let me again get in the screen where I can actually navigate it. And here we go. So there's your name right there in the bottom. So clearly it's your work. And why would we be showing somebody else's work? Tell me about these three charming chaps here you have in this.
This is from a story by Basil Wolverton, my hero, called Flight to the Future. I would go through and find panels that I liked of his, and I would do drawings and paintings from them. So I ended up doing about 20 or 25 pieces of his. And I'm most proud of them because of him, I got into comics.
Well, that's kind of a big attribution to make for somebody, and that's really cool. We got some bones in the ground there, the variety of bones, some skull bones, some ribs, it looks like. Is this somewhere on, I'm not familiar with the source material. Is this somewhere on Earth? Is this a different planet?
Pre-code horror comics before the code. So this is like early 50s.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. And what have we here?
Also Basil Wolverton image called Swamp Monster. And one of my favorite stories of his is I've got 3 or 4 drawings and paintings from that swamp monster. I mean, look at that thing. Wow.
Wow is right. It's he definitely looks swampy. He's got some swamp some swamp foliage, some swamp material into him, no question. You got the right amount of threatening look in his face, all of that stuff. I like him. I wouldn't want to cross paths with him in a swamp or elsewhere, but as represented by your art, I like him. Now here, look at this. We got a whole, what do we got? 3, 6, 9 covers here. I see Wolverton's name in the bottom corner image there.
The first 4 are comics that my work has appeared in. I don't know what is going on here. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't fade out or anything because I'm fading out here. Oh, yeah. So, but you can see me fine, huh?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. We can see it just fine.
Then the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9 were comics that I did production work for, where we had to take they take stats of old comic pages of his, and we'd have to take out like the dot patterns and just make it look like it was the black and white artwork ready for to be colored by the original comics.
And so inside these issues, your art was published at the time on the Comic Rack?
The Weirdo one is I won the Weirdo Ugly Art Contest in 1986. That's why that one's up there.
Was there a physical trophy? Was there a certificate? What kind of prize did somebody get for having the ugly art, best in show for ugly art? That's so good.
Right. And I'm not sure I have a picture of the winner, but there may be one. We may get there.
All right, good and good. And Fanboy Cantina is saying back to the swamp monster. That's a spooky character. All right, so coming to the folder here to advance to the next. All right, here's another nine image spread.
Those are all underground comics that my work appeared in. There were a lot of them, but that's like that Voodoo Soup. That's a real collectible there.
Voodoo Soup.
Just stuff that my work has appeared in.
Blotter. So it's definitely got that independent publisher style look. So do you
Yeah, it's 80s underground. That's what it was all about.
So I'm going to figure at the time, probably Diamond Distributors or another big comic distribution house wasn't carrying these. It wasn't coast to coast. So where could, at the time of publication, where could somebody find these? Definitely in a local comic shop. Is it fair to say maybe in a quote unquote head shop also that this stuff would have appeared? Who had your material on their shelves?
These you had to order specials from the artists themselves. Yeah, because they're all homemade. Every one of those is homemade. Well, no, Oddballs, the second one is a publication that I have like 20 pages of previous unpublished stuff in the second one. They're Oddballs. The rest of them are like, maybe Flam 2 was also a comic, but most of us guys made our own. In fact, I think the next photo that you show, you'll see that those are all my personal underground comics that I produced myself.
Wow. And I just off the top of my head, what a good variety, what a good different, I would say it looks like you're doing different style from the upper left to the upper right, from the rumbling robots to the dead brains. So did you, I don't, did you have like a suitcase and you opened up and said, here, come buy the stuff, or it was just more on
there was no such thing as really internet back then, and people had to, they're going to see them somewhere. We advertised, I can't remember where, in certain other little underground things that were just for buying, and you had to get an order, and there weren't many orders. That's all there was to it.
That's for love of the craft itself. Fanboy Cantina is in the indie art of its era is priceless, uncommon art form nowadays. I mean, I know from my own experience being at comic conventions with Fanboy G and other people, you'll see a variety of things in an artist alley side of things where all the independent people get together, row to row, table to table. But so just here you were back in the day, like just slugging it out, for love of the art itself. And man, this is just, again.
I was a guest artist at the San Diego Comic Convention from 86 to 88.
Oh man.
Along with my other underground buddies. And, I love those guys. See, when we made a book, we did everything. Every single thing we did. Marvel Comics, they got 20 people working on one story. So that's what I enjoyed about the underground. You get to do everything. You're the master.
Which is the whole value of then being independent and being self-published.
And all the best guys, all the most friendly, wonderful people were the underground artists. Dennis Warden, Mary Fleener. I mean, there's just J.R. Williams. There were just so many great artists and they're like your best friends,
Oh, that is touching. That is so good to
know. All for us, and then if something was happening, like Dennis Warden would contact me and tell me that, they're doing this, that, and the other thing, and then I would be able to contribute to it. And we did that for each other. When we came up with something, we would ask our friends to contribute also.
I think this would get into a whole separate, but if we could, and I know you said you wanted to move with a certain pace, but then I don't want to miss out on these delicious
Okay.
stories either. From the actual convention floor, like what was your experience like being at the conventions?
Oh, all the really big guys made, what's that? It's like, what do you mean, what's that? Because they had a higher standard of stuff, and underground people, it wasn't the same. I got criticized a little bit, but who was the guy? Real famous writer looked at my something and he was like petrified.
Good that you're petrifying him is what I say to that.
Oh, no, what are you guys up to, man?
Chai Star is asking from the comment section, were they ink or marker or digital? I'm going to say in the 80s, probably not digital.
Ink.
What media were you using to complete your
straight comic tools? Everything comic. It was 15 years of comics, and so that was like ink,
Man.
pencil and then ink over it, and then you can erase it, and it just shows the ink.
I'm just having fun with it, listening to all this. This is like you should have, could have, but I mean, what was there at San Diego Comic-Con, the panel room where you got to talk about your stuff? I would have been sitting in there the same way I'm sitting in here now to soak it all up. All right, ugly art contest. Here it is. The grand results of Weirdos. First prize goes to Gary Wray. Oh, it's okay. So,
there it is.
Okay. Entries, almost all of them were anyway. So that's
pretty ugly.
Was there a trophy? Was there? So this is what you got. This is a ranking. And so, is this the image that you entered?
Yeah, that the atomic swamp critter, I think is what it was.
Okay.
And then what I won was Peter Baggs there in the bottom center, and I won that suit.
Well, then my follow-up question to that has to be. Oh, go ahead.
A couple of felt birdie pictures. They found them. They bought them at like at a Goodwill or something, and so I got the suit and some felt birdie pictures. I think I lost everything when I moved. It's like I couldn't bring a whole lot of stuff here.
That suit is spectacular, though, even if it's lost to time. Mandarin is our man of mysteries, jumping in to say, yo, bro. So glad to have Mandarin along for the ride to change. So Mandarin, this is an OG artist we have today, as he's telling the stories from his Artist Alley days in the independent comic. And dope art dope AF to be sure, Mandarin. Glad to have you recognizing that as we're all recognizing it together. All right, now this is definitely some comic book paneling and sequencing here.
I wanted to show this because for the longest time, especially the beginning of comics, I was living in Fresno, and my wife was working with the wife of Brian Rydell, and he was like a layout artist, a genius. But I was really good with with finished work, so we collaborated on a lot of stuff.
Here I knocked us out of the box a little bit, but let me jump back up to there, recover it from there. Okay, so and again, it's interesting to see the differences in your pure black and white stuff to this colored stuff here. And again, it looks like you have just such a variety of styles that you drew upon across the years.
Brian was a genius with the human form, but I was a better finished artist, so it really worked out really good.
All right. Well, let's
that's 2 pages out of a 6-page story, but I just wanted to show it because it's really colorful and really interesting.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Back to a spooky side here.
Okay. We are now in the painting sections. This is some of the first paintings. When I was doing comics, I started doing paintings too at the same time. I would draw something, and then I'd make like a comic drawing, and then I'd look at it and then I'd make a painting from it. And this one, well, this one could get me in a little bit of trouble. I never meant for it, but boy, here in the future, you've got to watch things that you do. Anyway, this guy's out looking for something that's going to help him with his experiments in his special lab there.
Again, when you go pre-code horror, when you have the influence of your Dr. Frankenstein or your other mad scientists around, that is baked into their DNA. That is their mission. That is their whole thing. Michaela's also saying that is some amazing art, and we're all in agreement. We're all in agreement. This is a true treasure to be able to dig into all this here. So let's go ahead on that. This one looks a little bit more comical compared to his predecessor.
This guy is he's kind of a real estate guy, and he's telling you the advantage of living here. It's only $60 a month, free electricity, great view. Come on. He's trying to free electricity. And you're right next to a nuclear factory.
Oh, all right. So he's a total a con artist, and he's setting you up, man.
Right.
Man, what worth 1,000 words. A picture conveying a whole lot of 1,000 words there. Gary, my brother is asking, jumping back for one picture. That was an axe that our previous guy was holding.
Right. That's how he hunted down his prey for his experiments.
So then the previous picture and this picture have a little something in common. They're both a little bit predatory, one-in-one style.
Right. That thing is that I did a Twisted Future. You know, I did not fit in underground comics because that was all like self mutilation or something, people talking about the problems and stuff. And I was like, I like Twisted Future stuff. You know, I grew up in the 50s and I saw a lot of science fiction movies were my favorite. And I just like when things are screwed up, the future that's just screwed up, you know.
Thank you. That makes me all the more appreciative that you agreed to come on here and go into this stuff. Because again, it's one thing, it's enjoyable on one level and a significant level to see the art that you post in the classical horror Reddit subreddit group. But now to get to hear you tell the backstories about it and flush out the whole tale behind the image, it's all right. I gotta know about this guy now. He's
okay. I did an 8-page story called The Devil Robots, and it got published in Vortex Comics in 1986. And this is from a panel. It's Dr. Depla. It's not quite the same because there were other robots in the scene, but it's from a panel from that story. And the caption for this one is, you know, he's out there in space and he's noticed Earth. And he's like,
we might not want him to come check us out.
No, he's a devil robot, dude. It's a devil robot. But he's just, the caption for this one is he's noticed Earth on his scanner or something like that.
Man.
Well, like I said, I just like to screw things up real good.
In the best of ways without, okay.
Yes. Okay, this one is pest exterminators from the future. It's really hard to see, but there is a giant spider on the bottom of the whatever those.
Sure. It's a little bit in more black and gray, but yeah.
And there's a giant spider there, and they're deciding which one. Are you going to go in there or am I?
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right. Okay. Who do we have next? Michaela saying that she could take influence from you in her own drawing. So again, Michaela, that's great if you're able to.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can use my style anytime you like. This is I did 5 of these, and this was the first one that I did. And it's just about giant floating monsters on a dead planet. I don't
You
know.
know, your garden variety tale to tell.
Just what happened,
Yeah.
I like and the red backgrounds are just like, wow. I I love the red backgrounds.
And then is it fair to say that it's like a doorway higher up there off to the side? And is that some kind of flying cluster of bats or birds or something coming in
Yeah,
and going
it
out?
sure is. Yeah. Uh-huh. And that's right. Bats or birds, I don't know, but they're flying around.
Boy, this is good stuff. All right, here we're definitely got a lot of flyers in this section.
This is a very popular one on Reddit because it has a little more action than the other one that I just showed, and people really like this one a lot. And they're even more evil than that other thing was.
Oh yeah, definitely menacing, and it not quite an octopus, but you got 2 arms and 4 legs there, and a whole bunch of pinchers or pincers. So they're well, again, wouldn't want to come across any of these characters except
No,
for through your art.
oh, okay. Now this is we were talking about the swamp monster earlier, Basil Wolverton. Okay, this is the swamp monster that we looked at before is not even in the story. Okay, it was just like an illustration for the title card. This is what the swamp monster actually looks like uh, in the comic itself. And so I did a painting of it. I did I like 12 paintings of Wolverton images to one guy. His name is Jerry Deli. He's a collector. Back around 2005 and stuff, he was collecting he asked me, do some Wolverton stuff. I said, okay.
And the
So,
colors really pop on this one. It's such a great color selection.
well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm kind of using the same colors, but when you do a painting of them, they really pop better. Okay. I've got 2 pieces hanging in my bedroom of Basil Wolverton.
All right, my brother saying in the previous one, it looked like it had some Mars Attacks elements in it, and yeah, but Mars Attacks is based on all the 50s sci-fi stuff, so you're drawing from the same well, the same source, the same pool. Fanboy continues to be wowed by what we're looking at, so let me advance on to the next image so we can continue to be okay.
And now this is the painting that I did from also Flight to the Future of the drawing that I did too. I didn't know I put them both up there, but anyway.
Hey, that's all right. Doesn't hurt to take a look at them.
Comics and one was a painting. Oh yeah. This one's called Nightmare World, and this is a panel from that Basil was something else, man. I mean, the reason I got into comics because his imagery just talked to me. They were so different and we just have a lot in common the way that we do our art and stuff like that. So Basil's my guy.
And a good guy to have. And every time you say Basil, I'm getting used to hearing Wolverton after it, but I keep thinking Gogos when we say Basil, but I'm getting zeroed in here. And again, this is definitely its own thing. It's got elements of lots of other things, but it's also got a nice distinction.
Monsters were just so different than other people's monsters. Just, I don't know. I just understand them better.
The man who understood the monsters. That's a beautiful way to go.
Yeah, I think I should be known as the monster guy.
Absolutely.
That's all I do is freaking monsters. Oh, They Crawl by Night is another one of his stories. And it's about these these crab men that go into an insane asylum at night and capture people and they turn them into those guys sitting around as the leader.
He's gleefully holding court after he's procured some victims there, for crying out loud.
Crawl by Night.
Crawl by Night it is. and that what do crabs do? Crawl by night. So what a fitting.
And this is just one of my creations, one of my favorites. Gave it away to a girl because she was moving. A friend when we were doing movies. And anyway, this one's called Alien Moon, Alien Tombstone Moon. There you go. Wild West in space.
All right, and speaking of movies, from our comment section in our first conversation, screen name D3AD First 21 put a little crying face. Didn't hear any talk on the movie that you made. So, and I said we will come to that, but we're by choice here. We're going to knock down the hard stuff first, and there will be a time to speak on your movies.
We're kind of doing a timeline, so.
All right. Okay. Oh, this is definitely shadowy figures.
One of my favorites. I actually cut out cardboard and I laid it on the canvas and I would spray black. So that's all the black things that's two different things I cut out, two cutouts there. And then once I had the black, I just filled everything else in.
It's reminiscent of tombstones. It's reminiscent of a haunted element there. It's got a gravity to it, whereas the other ones with the brighter color or the more popish with pop effect, this definitely has a gravity and a weight to it. All right. Oh boy.
And this is another one of the spray painted ones I started again. And you can see the other colors that I sprayed there. I just did a whole series of where I would do cutouts and put the black down first and then paint everything and draw everything in. This is like they came out of the atomic mist, something like that.
That's a good name for that misty color they have there all over the backdrop. All right, this is a bit of a hellish piece here. We got some fire and a devil-looking guy. What do we got going?
Okay, this one's called Ghoulish Fever Dream. And it's done on wood, and that's the wood grain kind of coming out in most of it. And I start working, and this is what I ended up with. One of my favorites, too. I sold everything. Everything is gone.
Well, at least you have the image of it.
Right. That's probably more important than actually having the piece, you know.
And am I reading the year correctly? Is it 77 that you have inscripted off to the side? Or
2017.
17. So very recent then, by comparison to 77. Okay.
LSD Dungeon.
Yeah.
Or LSD Hell. One of the two.
Hey, check out anytime you like, but you'll never leave. That's
And I got a comment. From this one. The guy said, "Do not look at this after you take LSD."
Yeah, it might induce some nightmares to be.
Don't look at this after you take LSD.
All right, so Fanboy G is asking what materials are typically used. So again, sometimes, or at least on occasion, you're using wood. Other times you're using
also wood and oil paint. I may have doctored it up a little bit with colored pencil. I'm not sure, but that's oil on wood, and it's not the easiest medium. It really isn't.
And then the question from the fanboy, from the house of the fanboy, do you prefer one medium or the other, or is it just more what you feel the piece calls for as you're designing it?
Give me oil, the smell, everything about oil, the blending. When I first got into art, I got there. I was a science major and I hated it, so I got into art in my sophomore year. And they had already been there a week or something, and there was going to be an art show. So I did an art show of the Metaluna mutant with poster paint, and I hated it. And I told my teacher, and she told my parents, get him some oil paint. And then my first oil paint, you'd think that I was a genius or something. The, the poster paint just looked like crap, compared to like oil. I like oil, but I don't always use oil. Sometimes I use acrylic for certain things.
Again, did a variety of things over time, content and media. Mandarin saying, is there a website? So Mandarin, we're going to come to that. We're going to show Etsy where there's some sculptures, some tiki based sculptures that are up and running. But Gary, being a multi,
I like. I can't do one thing. I would be so bored. I would die. I like to get excited about doing a certain thing that, I almost create myself and do a bunch of those. And then when I'm done with those, I start something else. Like, let's say I do paintings, and then I want to do sculptures, and then I want to do drawings. And then I do a number, I do a lot of each medium. I don't just do one. I do like 20 of a style or something I'm working on.
and to me, this is off to the left here. It's even reminiscent. I don't know the name of the fish, but when you go down, when you dive in miles down, and they have those
we're anglerfish.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
I know all the ugly stuff.
This guy strikes me as a piece of Orson Welles and a piece of a goon all at once. What were your inspirations to bring this guy to life?
This is the Colossus of New York from the movie, which I saw at the time, 1958. And this is a painting of a still from that movie of the Colossus himself in the lab. It's a little blurry, and I'm so upset that I did not get a perfect picture of it. The best one is slightly blurry, which really gets me upset. But I took 10,000 photos, so I mean, before you had a scanner and stuff, you had to take a photo of it.
Yeah.
And then eventually technology could crop it. Anyway.
Well, don't let me tell you how to react to your own work, of course, but to me, the blurriness just adds to the mystery or to the ominous tone of it, the threatening presence. Like this guy he's moving sideways from the point of view of the viewer, but it looks like he could be in mid spin to come over and approach you. You break the fourth wall and come after you. So it is definitely a foreboding, scary Colossus that you put together there.
This is from Curse of the Demon, 1957. Saw that one too. At the beginning of the movie, one of the guys that doesn't believe in demons has a parchment or something, and he gets killed at the beginning, and he's in his car, and this thing comes out of the night and gets him, kills him.
It looks like he's in a wooded area here. So, I mean, there's the spookiness of the Headless Horseman, but I don't even want to drive by the forest preserve tonight, pal. You're putting the fear right there in me. And this is definitely, as I said a minute ago for the other one, a little bit ominous, a little bit foreboding, a little bit intimidating. So absolutely well, whoa.
Everybody's favorite, The Crawling Eye, 1958.
Jeez.
It was in black and white, and they actually colorized it recently, but this is my color version of it, because that's a good thing about black and white movies. You can make up your own colors.
And I would say for the actual eyeball, it definitely has a gelatinous
Yeah,
The
and
Canadians.
it moved around and stuff, and it was like,
Now,
they played a ton in the early '60s. I mean, geez, every 2 weeks they were playing this one.
is this one oil or is this something different?
It's oil.
Oil. All right.
Basically, all my paintings are oil. That anytime I'm doing, uh, I just don't do acrylic that much. But I did acrylic more like in the '70s. Ah, the thing in the ruins.
Man. So what size is this actual piece?
Oh, probably a foot, almost like 10 or 11 inches tall. So about that big, and
Man, we've talked about
just
the
broken
dioramas.
up,
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
styrofoam, and then little Halloween stuff, the little skeletons that they had that I'll be damned if I'm gonna make those things.
Right.
Those would be tough. So my little monster there, I love him.
It's like taking a wrong turn into Stonehenge and ended up in a monster verse around of a Stonehenge there. That is so good. Oh boy.
This guy's name is Icky,
I can see why.
and he's my what's it called? Mascot. He's the ugliest thing I ever made, so he's my mascot.
Icky's a good mascot to have there. He's got no shortage of eyes to keep his eyes on things and a nice variety of teeth to offer. What a charming mascot.
I got my mouse pad with Icky on it.
Oh, here we come back.
Okay, I would buy the plastic skulls in Halloween, and I would add my sculpting material to it. So they would always look like anatomically correct. And then I've done like 30 of these guys, but this guy's called Half Skull.
Half skull. Okay.
And I used to use a lot of that fake fur too.
Fake fur for the hair. Excellent. And even on the skin of it. So the skull, right? There's a variety of colors on the actual bone matter, but then on the skin, he's got good 4 to 6 different skin tones working there. So cheapers. Wowie. Okay. Let's see, who do we got next? A double feature, if you will. There's the Metaluna Mutant, and you just recently put, I think, this exact image of Metaluna Mutant on Reddit, and then who is the character up at the top?
That's the Martian from the Angry Red Planet 1959. Another one I saw when it came out. I was a lucky guy. I was a real monster kid.
And it shows. Oh boy.
These are the 1957 movie Invasion of the Saucermen. At one point, one of the Saucermen gets his hand cut off, and it starts crawling around. So these are crawling hands, just six different versions from that movie.
Some of them with one eye apiece. The one guy there has 2, but yeah, and
it was my own little design. I liked him so much because I'm always making the Cyclops ones, and I wanted one with 2 eyes.
Right, just to mix it up a little bit.
1963, Outer Limits had a thing called the Zanti Misfits, of the ant people, the little bugs that crawled around and killed people. Yeah.
They had 2 jobs, crawling around and killing people.
Bruce Dern starred in that one.
Oh, that's real good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the game Cootie, which is the plastic Cootie bug.
Yes.
But again, haven't taken a turn into a dark
That was favorite games in the 50s Cootie.
Definitely. Okay.
1957 movie called From Hell It Came, about a tree monster, and it's also my moniker, Tabonga.
Yes.
But this is a female version, so I had to cover up there. She got
Absolutely.
boobies and a knife in her.
Absolutely. Oh well, you know, when you're monstering around, you're bound to get a knife in you. Here's a lovely collection of
Just 4 of my stand-up guys. Those are all my original creations. Actually, the first one is like a takeoff on Metal Inner Mutant, my version of that. And I think a couple of them were, we did some NFTs back in the day, actually made a couple $1,000, and then it got so expensive to list, we didn't do it anymore. But just some of my characters that actually you can just set them there and they stand up.
And so what material did you use to put these guys together?
Wire and my sculpting material.
Okay. And is the sculpting material colored, or was there another step afterwards to add the color?
It's just so everyone knows, it's called Crayola Model Magic. And yeah, you just have to put use white, and then after you build it, you coat it with glue to make it indestructible. You thin it down, and you'd give it 2 or 3 coats of the glue, a watery glue, and make sure there's no drips or anything. And then if you don't do that, the stuff chips really easily. But if you put the glue on there, it's like indestructible. It's really something else.
Definitely a workshop that we're in the middle of here. How to
got a lot of tricks. Just more of my guys. Flies for some. I saw The Fly in 58, and the first one is mostly that. But I love these 2-headed guys. I just love them. I don't know.
What's not to love?
I know. Look at them.
Charming charmers, a lot of them.
More of just how weird I can be. See, I always thought, you know what? I'm going to do something that nobody else would ever think of. That was all. That was my charge, my battle cry.
Well, as any self-respecting artist should employ that battle cry. Man, I got to say, there's a reminiscence. It's out clearly its own thing. There's a somewhat reminiscence of Jim Henson, but I think this is obviously out there in a more edgy kind of a way than most of the Jim Henson material. Right. Oh man, you're a workhorse. Sculpture, you keep going.
I think I've done like 6,000 sculptures.
Oh my gosh.
Started in 94. When I dropped comics, I went into sculptures. Comics it wasn't making me any money, and my eyes were getting bad. So it's like, I look at some of my comic work and I go, how did I ever do that? I could never do that again.
Well, what a great place to land then in shifting over.
It was perfect. Because I started thinking, you know what, 3D art is more interesting than 2D art in a way, because you can touch it, set it. I really got into sculptures.
And I'm glad you did, and I'm glad to be able to show them.
Like I said, I cannot do the same thing over and over. I'll go jump off a cliff. I need to be, the only way I can stay stimulated is to do a series of something and then just do something completely different. That's what makes me happy.
And yeah, I mean, it's just you've created a full depth of a whole roster here of these characters. It's and they're not small in number. They're a significantly large tribe.
I like that batch right there.
Yeah.
Those are all like Frankenstein. The last one is a Frankenstein with 2 brains.
Oh, sure.
He's got 2 electrodes. And then the first one too. I like him. He's got 1 electrode.
Yeah, a little bit of Easter Island ish, but ghoulish, narrow drawn face. Good stuff. Oh boy.
These are called part skull. So I think the third one is the funniest one. The look on his face, like, oops.
Yeah. Yeah, to be sure. To be sure.
You see, I do everything's almost everything is humorous. I'd say 10% is not, but otherwise, there's always a joke to go along with it because I think it's just more interesting, and it's friendly. A lot of women bought my sculptures. One time, one lady bought 60 of them when I was selling on eBay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
and now, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Well, now this stuff I go so right. There's different. Earlier we were speaking of San Diego and the comic convention. So there are a variety of different conventions or get-togethers besides eBay and besides Etsy. So I could see like that oddities and curiosities expo. Absolutely, I could see these selling like hotcakes in that kind of a format.
And I did like 80 robots. I didn't. I was wondering because I got all these photos and I tried to put them all in one place, and I was going, I probably did about 20 or 30 of these. And then I counted, and there's like 80. I was like, what the?
Jeez,
What's wrong with me? But they're fun, I love those guys.
And does it take you a different amount of time for each one of these, or is there like an average amount of time it would take to
I had a lot of plastic parts. I was pretty quick back in the day. I'm a little slower now, but I could put stuff together. I was just a whirlwind. I really was. And I always I didn't never worked on just one thing. I'd have like 10,
This is so good. Whoa! Now this looks markedly different from the previous fair.
This is a little more serious. I call this art from another planet. This is a weird robot. You can see all the plastic. I worked at Michael's, and when kids would bring back their models, they'd be missing a piece or two. They just gave them all to me. If they were missing a piece, I got them. And I don't have the pieces anymore. I used up almost every single one, and I had like 10,000 pieces of little pieces that I could use. That's why the earliest ones were the most interesting because I had the most to choose from, most parts to choose from. And then when you use them all up,
right.
I tried to buy more on eBay and stuff, but they're so expensive, and then you never get exactly what you want.
Now, is this the exact same piece from 3 different points of view, or?
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is really good. And was this one also sold, or do you have this one on a storage shelf somewhere?
Oh no, it's sold. I had to live, and being an artist only pretty much.
Yeah.
You gotta, Oh, and so I did a lot of stuff with plants, with actual pieces of wood and stuff. My friend would cut up his tree, and it was a white, not pine, and it was just so perfect. And he had this little stump thing, and he gave it to me, and I turned it into that.
Yeah. So this is just actual wood. Now, as far as the teeth, then I'm going to assume you inserted those, or was
Yeah.
that?
See, that's what I like doing. Take a piece of wood and then change it into like something else, you know.
That would have been one heck of a carving job to have that be all one continuous.
So that's the great thing about model magic is that you can just make the teeth and the eyes and the little. Ah,
Here's another set of eyes coming around.
this one is a psychedelic garden or something like that. This is a popular one on Reddit too. People like this one.
As they should, as they should.
Then see, I did monster slugs.
Man, is this another monster slug?
Yep, that's what it is. All right. Okay, now these guys, especially number 3, that's one of the creepiest things I've ever made. But these guys are victims of H.P. Lovecraft meteorites. If you know anything about Lovecraft, everything is centers around these meteorites from space that have weird powers or something. They can mutate and stuff like that. That's who these guys are.
Yeah, Lovecraft is arguably the most out there, but it's definitely like nobody's more out there than Lovecraft. So excellent to draw.
He's one of my heroes. These pieces here were done for one of my clients that I did. I must have done 150 pieces for this guy. And these are all pieces that he requested that I do. And I think 2 of them are plop covers, the ones on the left, the bottom and the middle. And then he had such a knowledge of all these things from when he was a kid. He would send me photos of things and ask me to make sculptures out of them.
And what results you've delivered. So in the bottom corner again, is that fake fur that you included for hair, or was that a different material?
No, it was always fake fur.
Okay. And I really like up top center this frog-looking guy riding a toy horse there. I really like his style.
That one took a little while because I had to put the thread on the little horsey head so that he could hold that. And he's got a golf club.
A golf club to go with, oh, of course. Man, what a volume! I mean, like you said, there's so many. I mean, this is just. You've got, I'm telling you what you already know. It's such a wide set body of work that you have here, piece after piece. So, was there a specific theme with these, or you're in a kind of a groove here?
Well, my sister gave me some wood, and I used them for bases. And I just like doing I don't know what these are called. Are they? I can't remember what they're called. The little things that they show, and they're in a box, and you can look at dioramas.
Yeah.
They're a type of diorama.
Jeez, just all good material.
That's what I'm telling you, people. Don't get old. You won't forget.
My grandmother used to say that, and then as a younger person, like, well, how is anybody going to help it? And then the years are going to pass, but the older you get, the older I get, the more I've come to appreciate the sentiment of it. So there's that.
Now these are very popular. I don't know what they are, but they're like primitive something. They're cool.
Absolutely.
I would think more of these. And when I was doing stuff, I like to make stuff out of the crappiest wood I could find. I mean, I want to do things backwards. I just want to do stuff nobody would ever think of. Okay? And it's true.
And you succeeded at it time and time and time and time again. Uh-oh.
Bat people hideaway.
Man, this is some spooky complex in there. There's a, kind of like a mouse hole port there. Definitely some claws. Again, some of the other ones I thought maybe were more kind of like all ages that somebody of any age could get into it. This one maybe more teen and
Right.
up. There's
Yeah.
there's an element of being lured into a lair or a prisoner, kind of, with the potential of being a prisoner kind of thing going there. So these are would we say these are totem inspired or totem themed?
Holes. That's about one fifth of them. I did a lot of them.
Jeez. And again, there's a distinctive style to it, yet each one also looks distinct unto its own.
Right. Something I'm forced to do is not repeat myself.
Yeah. Oh, again, here the talk about color popping. The colors are really popping on these.
And see, one is bamboo. My friend gave me a piece of bamboo, so I use that too.
Which one is the bamboo? The
Top right.
top right. Yeah.
And all the other ones are again just pieces of wood that he gave me that I cut and glued on a base, and then I built it onto that.
Man, the creative process that goes on in there, Gary, I tell you, it's just I'm glad to be along for the ride, to be a bystander, to see it all come around.
Oh, are we here already?
Here we are.
Wow. Okay, I have 5 books up on Amazon. This one is my collab. It's almost 50 pages. My collaboration with Brian Rydell, the complete collaborative collection. So he was the penciler and I was the inker and the colorist.
Inker and colorist. I was about to ask, was there a separate colorist? And right there, as it says in the bottom box, first time published color horror story, Mad Planet, 46 pages of artwork from 1980 to present, the complete collaborative collection.
Mad Planet is where earlier I showed you the work with Brian. The colored pieces are in this book. There were 2 pages that I showed you that the monsters popping out of the ground and stuff.
Yes.
Those are in this.
Popping out of the ground, and as my brother notes, they're lurking around. Jeez, this is so.
That cover is so funny because that's me and Brian there.
Oh, okay.
And we're looking over the map and we're going, oh yeah, the gold must be, or whatever we're looking for is going to be right over here. But I don't think they're going to get
You're not going to make it. Oblivious to your end. It's about. Oh, okay. And here's the. Okay, Other Worlds.
This is a 100-page compilation of all my comic work.
And
encyclopedia of comic art.
Is this something that somebody could find on Amazon also, or?
Yes, right. The 5 books that you're going to be showing are all on Amazon. You have to search books and then my name.
Dynamite.
Then this one is paintings, my sci-fi and horror paintings. See, I broke it down. I have so much stuff. I could break it down, just paintings for one, comic work with Brian, and then, well, I'll explain after we do the 5th one, but this one's for paintings.
This is so great.
Bizarre and creepy sculptures. 100 pages again. And see, this guy ended up on the cover.
He just had a face, not for radio, but for the cover of the publication.
Okay, and then this is my psychedelic, surreal, and abstract work. And it's also 100 pages.
And all, again, we're repeating, all available through Amazon. So people who are interested can absolutely jump in. Okay.
Okay, so go back one.
Sure enough.
Okay, my son helped me publish them on Amazon because he's more of a digital guy.
Yeah.
I do have one other book, and it's called The Humorous Sculptures. You'll notice that that part is missing. So he got tired of doing it, so that one didn't get put up yet.
All right. That's a humorous story about humorous works. And then here we got some luchador, a masked man fighting robots and zombies. This has a great frenetic energy to it. 13 o'clock theater, double horror feature. So were these your?
So I guess it was 1999. Okay. When I was living in LA, I wrote like 3 or 4 scripts because I was reading film facts, and all of a sudden I wanted to make movies. And my friend Daryl told me that, oh, I had a dream. Uh, I was on TV, and my hair was all messed up and everything, and I was known as the creep. And so I had an idea, and I wrote a whole story about it. And the story had to do with what are the most disgusting things a person could be, or do. And so that's the creep. I figured out all these horrible things that he lives underground. He only comes out at night. He kills people.
The full checklist.
And we finished that one in 2001. And then right after we finished The Creep, the director of that one started another movie called Virus Man. And then for Silver Angel versus the Death Zombies, we had Daniel Chavez was the director, and this is a takeoff on an old Mexican monster movie from the 60s, and that's why he's wearing a mask and all this stuff. And you can see that robot there, and on the bottom of the poster, that's me in the background dressed up like a robot, and then my friend Daryl is the little guy that's the mean one.
Oh my gosh.
It was so much fun. Oh my God. Anyway, this one was The Creep ended up being a DVD. This one ended up being a DVD-R. So I have the DVD-R up in my room, and we're going to have DVDs made of it because this is the movie that I really like. It's just really something else. And so we're going to get DVDs made of those and send one to Jason Brandt and Haunted Hippie. And well, anyway, maybe we'll get Jason Brandt to review it on his show. That would be really great. But they're both only 60 minutes long. So the double feature thing is you get to see 2 movies in 2 hours. And that's really, Forrest J. Ackerman is the host for The Creep.
Well, that's a big name.
Oh, yeah. He hosts The Creep. He comes on at the beginning and at the end. And we filmed his part at his mansion, the Anchor Mansion.
Now that is a whole show, a whole story in itself that you had an interaction with. You were at his mansion.
And I also produced a public access show called Offbeat, where we were space beatniks flying around on our spaceship, and that's when we were also a band, Hermanos Gusanos, and but for the TV show, we were the Offbeatniks, and we would ask for. Daryl was like our I was like the production guy, but he was a contact guy, and he would ask for submissions for music videos, independent music videos, and so that's what the show was. And then in between the videos showing, and we were also Church of the Subgenius, we were also affiliated with them too, and that was a big plus. We got to show their clips during a thing, and then we would just do blue screen goof offs in between all the things we were showing before got into the movies. That was like 92 and 93.
Man, Gary, as one thing evolves into the next, but it's like there needs to be a biography on you out here for all this stuff you've had in your comings and goings.
I do everything. Well, I'm also a musician and I'm a writer, and I love everything that's creative. Everything.
All right, let's see what else do we have over here. Okay, so that right there, as you're saying, Forrest J. Ackerman hosts as Dr. Acula.
Right. Then those are the first photo. The first ones are, well, 2, 3, and 4 are of us meeting with Forey before he did his intro for the Creep. And so that's what that is, all at his place right there. And the fourth photo is we lucked out, and he's my assistant director. We couldn't have done it without him. He was gold.
No doubt. So what was the process of initially reaching out to him? And then what was the timeline for his response? Or clearly he agreed to participate. Was he tough to land? Was he instantly?
Are you talking about Forey? Are you talking about Forey?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We just contacted him. We said, hell yeah, sure. Come on down.
Because you're on a first name basis with him that you could call him Forey.
Oh yeah. He's my biggest hero because of Famous Monsters and what that did for us kids. Oh man, because we could actually have them and study them instead of our imagination. We saw the movie and I can't remember what happened.
So going back to our previous conversation, there's you in your youth with Forrest J. Ackerman's magazine in your closet wall, on your closet door, I should say. You're engrossed in it. And so then there's the grown you being able to be in the house of the man who put out all the material that was so inspirational to you as a kid. I mean, that had to be Kid in a Candy Store. That had to be the best of times.
The biggest problem was we would have been around him a lot more if we hadn't lived in the San Joaquin Valley, like Bakersfield, which is a little, to get to his place, take an hour and a half. And, stupid kids, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, and anyway, he was the greatest guy. We had so much fun. He says, hey, let's go in my bedroom. And we all sat on the bed and stuff while we talked about what we were going to do and stuff. And the photography director was a lady, and he was flirting with her. And when you go in his room, it's called the bad room. The bad room.
Eric, I knew I liked your art, but from my initial point of reaching out to you, I didn't know that this specific treasure and this specific riches was going to come in your storytelling. And wow, this is so good. So back to the Creep here, back to black and white.
Okay, yeah, the Creep it's a black and white movie because it's supposed to be like a 60s movie, so like a little noir. So we've made it black and white. This is just some stills from it. It's also a comedy, of course. I can't do straight, but it's not like we don't do parody. It's like we do like Three Stooges humor. It's serious, but then something happens. It's okay.
I was going to ask, so it's probably not in the vein of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, probably not in the vein of The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. So it has a bit of horror, a bit of Three Stooges. That's an interesting hybrid right there.
Oh, see the fifth photo of the kids there holding the candy.
Yes.
Okay, so they're out Halloweening, uh, getting Halloween candy by themselves, and they're walking down the street, and the creep jumps out and goes, "Hey, hey, monster kids, what's up?" And he goes, "Oh, I see you have a lot of candy. Look at mine. I hardly got nothing. Can I see what real candy looks like?" So they open his bag and he steals them. He steals their,
Oh, totally a creepy move.
but it's comedy,
Right, right, right. That a good
Oh,
bit.
and the last one, that's an ice cream truck. He gets run over by an ice cream truck at the end. So,
A fitting end for a creepy creep.
and we made a dummy, and it looks just like him, and he gets run over. It's like it's really good, man. Really good.
And about what time period could you say again? This was in the 90s or
It's supposed to be like, see, we even got the older cars, the T-Bird and stuff. It's mid '60s, something like that.
set in the 60s, and then you put the film together in what time period? Like when were you actually working on it?
Are you broken up a little bit? Say that again.
So what you set the story in the 1960s, and when were you doing the production on the movie?
1999 to 2001.
Excellent. And
And
then
then
go
here's Silver Angel.
switching from black and white to color versus
Oh
the
yeah,
zombies. Again, a car is being prominently featured. It looks a little bit like the Ghostbusters Neutrona one. There you
that's that's Silver Angel's car, and it ran on uh, airplane fuel. And so we got shots of him driving in it, going 90 miles an hour and stuff.
oh boy.
And this movie is so good. I swear to God. See the little guy in the second photo?
Second photo. Yes.
That's the guy that played the creep.
Good.
Rocky Lee. He was my buddy from high school. And he worked at a mental hospital. That's why he didn't want to do the creep, because he thought he was making fun of people. But I finally explained to him, dude, it's just a freaking movie. Come on, man.
Come on.
Nobody could have done it better. He was the right guy. But he shaved his head, and he even made that shirt. He even made that shirt too. The doctor's name that he's talking to, I don't know, this is just an inside joke, is Dr. Mercury. And the little guy's name is Pluto. So Mercury's as closest to the sun.
Oh, Mercury and Pluto. Well played. Well played.
I have to, amuse myself, I have to make myself laugh, and stuff like that. It really helps.
Okay, we do have a question. Any influence from Bakersfield specifically on art style or influences?
Okay, I'm in Las Vegas now, so Bakersfield. Oh, it was so great. We owned that damn place, man. When we were making the movies, at first we had to go and say, "Oh, we're going to be working over here and everything," so that they could have the police check up on us. And after about 2 times, we just said, "Nah." We just did whatever we want. One time, the police came out because neighbors. We were out in the field, out in the edge of town, and the houses there. We got big lights and stuff out there, and we're like a quarter mile in, and cops came out there and said, "Hey, we got some complaints. People want to know, what are you doing out here?" And we said, "I'm making a movie." And they go, "Oh, really? Can we watch?"
That had to be a magical time to be working.
I had so many movies planned for that, but our backers, they had $25 million. Now get this. Oh my God. They lost it all in the stock market.
Oh.
So we barely got a couple of $1,000s out of them, and they were not happy with Silver Angel because they thought we're doing it for, the money I spent was only for equipment. I didn't have money to pay people. And it was Bakersfield. Everybody wanted to chip in, you know, and the guy, the last still there, the doctor, Dr. Mercury, he had a shop, and we turned that into the lab, and he did it all. He even put up like for the wallpaper, aluminum foil. I mean, it was just, this movie is, well, you can see it in the second photo. You can see the aluminum foil up on them. But it's really a good movie. It really is.
And how would someone be able to see it currently?
Oh my God. On WFMU, it's a radio station in New Jersey. They're playing it, but I can't find it. Now, The Creep is on IMDb. You can go watch the trailer there. And you can watch the trailer for Silver Angel also, if you know how to get there. But it's like, okay, 13/blogspot. That's our site, our movie review site that we did for 15 years, but we had to quit because it's like, I'm tired of this. We had like 5 million hits. Anyway, so 13/blogspot will get you to that site. And on the right-hand side, if you scroll down a little bit, there's 4 trailers that we have for our movies. You can watch them all there. But I don't know where you're going to find a full cut. I looked for Silver Angel, but because when people do search, if it's not a popular search, you're not going to find it.
Okay? Yeah.
It's that simple. But anyway, both those movies are a hoot. They really are. The nonstop action. They're just nonstop. It's just one thing to another. And Silver Angel is funny as hell, man. It's just with Pluto, he stole the show.
Well, we sent 90 photos between last time and this time. We made it through the full set of 90. Again, for the other person in the comments that wanted to hear more about the movies, we did get to that this time around. Gary, again, the fact that you would come on and share your art through the the traditional media, the wood, the sculptures, the shifting over to movies. It's all your life's work. How else can I say it? Your life's work is completely impressive.
60 years of physical art. 60 years, starting in 63.
I super appreciate that you came around to do this. I look forward to seeing your upcoming new drops when you drop them in Reddit in the classical horror group or wherever else you might put your stuff together. It's been a true privilege to go over all this material with you. I thank you so much.
If you wanted to ever do a movie review on The Creep, I'll send you a copy. I got a whole box of sealed ones.
Oh, how do I turn that down? I'm a fool. I'm a fool to turn that down.
After we hang up, we'll talk about it.
Sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to end our live stream, and then Gary and me are going to talk about The Creep. Who knows? Ideally, I won't put an exact set date, but there will be a day in the future where we'll speak on The Creep right here on Mr. C Dives In. Thanks, everybody. Comment section.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to close this out, and thanks. And